So electric, so alive, all the time, high frequency, all the time. When did you ever turn off?
Okay, so hi gang. Turning off. I guess like in life, it's like you are that person. You are that person. My business is an extension of me. My life, my friends are an extension of me. My relationship with you is an extension of me. Turning that off is when you go to sleep. So it's like it's not like it's an on or off button. That's me.
And
as you know, we have always been this intense with our dynamic relationship.
Yes.
I have this relationship with not that many people. So our relationship, it's professional, it's friendship, it's soulful, it's creative. Even when we sort of bump into each other, it's like a 30-second slot in our lives. It's high energy, but that's nice.
So nice to do business with people like you because it's just, you're on, you're electric, it's colourful, and you're a no BS kind of guy.
There's a word that a lot of people use, and it's called authenticity. And it's, when you go back many, many years ago, when you talk about authenticity, it wasn't such a buzzword. It is a buzzword, and I think it's still it's a brilliant word. And
what does it mean?
It means to me, and I don't like to use it so much now because everyone inauthentically uses it. When you are following your own vision, when you are totally in control, and another word that I don't like to use, but I have to use is like manifest. When you think, when you know where you're going, when you know what you are doing, and you have a great sense of self. That's why it's good to do business with those people. That's why I love working with you. It's because we know who we are. We're steering our boat. We're completely committed to our vision, not being half-assed about doing something, believing in somebody else. I'll do that. No, we're just like, really, this is what we're doing.
Have you always been like that?
Always.
Always.
Actually, it's interesting. I remember being asked, what do you want to do? Like at a New Year's party, we're talking about our resolutions and And I kind of, this is a number of years ago, and they said, what do you want to do? Where are you going? I'm like, I want to go there. But they're like, oh, that's so cool. Because I'm like, but it's not about going there. It's about I am the pilot. I am the captain of my ship. I'm going to navigate to that end location. But I know that that's where I want to get to.
Yeah.
So it's.
However you get there.
However I get there, there could be things that happen, whatever. But when people go, oh, this is brilliant, this is brilliant. I'm not expecting it always to be brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm expecting it. I want to have the trials and tribulations, so I know that the road is rocky, but I'm going to get there. It just when you have a setback, it makes you doubly as ambitious. So being able to be the captain of your ship, and like no sailor gets on a ship and then just sails blindly. You always need to navigate to somewhere. You always go, that's my end result, find it. In life, it's as simple as thinking that. It's as simple as saying, I know that that's where I need to go. Now I'm going to have to work out how to get there.
And growing up, when you said to your parents, I want to be this, what was it back in?
So I think being young, being from an Italian family with the parents that were very accepting of my creativity, but also having a really studious background, like having great uncles and godparents that really instilled the yearning to learn, like knowledge and research was. I'm still obsessive. I love
history
it.
And research.
I love knowing everything about everything. It's kind of me, and I guess that's a bit of obsessive compulsive, whatever. But to talk about what I wanted to be, my mother was never, okay, this is what you want to be and become that. She was like, what I don't want you to be. So when I'd ask her, like, what can I be? She's like, let's talk about what you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So she said, you shouldn't work at a 9 to 5. You shouldn't work at a factory. You shouldn't not be learned. You shouldn't do the same thing over and over because life will offer you the same thing over and over and you will forget. Life will just become one big smudge. So she said, always make sure. Amazing advice. So we never talked about what I wanted to be. It was always about what I shouldn't be.
So growing up, and I keep on going back to that because I would love to have met you in the kindergarten. Just the way that your brain works is just next level.
Yeah,
Like, it's
next levels. So I was.
Did you used to reach for the calculator or the crayons?
Well, I was that kid that loved Lego, and so I would count every Lego piece. I would separate every colour, and then I would build a building or a character in a single colour, and then I'd put each coloured thing into a world that I would create. So I was like very complex, you know, like with reading, you know, so I would collect books to colour code all the books in my bookshelf. So by the age of 15, I had like 300 books, all colour coded. A lot of my friends saw that. So we'd have everything colour coded. And then I'd be like, one day I'd be like, maybe we should go on to alphabetical order. And then Mum's like, oh, here we go. There goes Boxing Day. And I'd be like, pulling everything out. So yeah.
I think you've answered this.
I don't even know where I was going there. But yeah, so crayons and calculator,
Both of them,
both.
equally as skilled.
And
Business is suddenly coming in abundance. Not that you were ever short of business, but now it's coming in abundance, and you've hit the straps. You're in demand. You're internationally recognised.
Yeah.
Tell me about where you are in terms of your career now.
Growing up in Australia and travelling quite a visionary in my own world. Like I'd be like, I'm looking at places in Barcelona, then I'm looking at somewhere, you know, in South America, in sort of deep in Rio de Janeiro, like 1960s department buildings, taking photos of them. All these things that kind of became part of my research repertoire. Suddenly, 4 years later.
Yeah.
When I talk about what I do in other parts of the world, people are really listening to it. So, getting projects in Greece, in Portugal, in Spain.
And you're forever travelling now.
And forever traveling. Singapore, Bali, Flores, that doing a full resort. I just left a meeting about a huge resort that we're working in an island in Bali, which is like, I'm designing every stick of it, every single part of it.
Why?
So I'm becoming like from a
Yeah.
designer to like master planner to doing all the spatial, to creating the actual essence of an entire location. Like to get to that point, there's a lot of hard work. It's not like I know we'll never take that for granted. It's also, it's a point where, the supply chain is great. We can work with incredible artisans all over the world instead of like a small location in Australia.
Yeah.
We can work across, 10 projects and develop hotel furniture times 150 rooms. Like, it's just the scale of things.
Incredible.
And
so when you start a project and when you finish it, do you kind of go, or you get halfway through and you go, I want to change direction?
No.
Or
I'll
you
tell you
stick,
why.
you're on the ship, the
Okay,
captain.
so we have this really, really strong manifesto. So it's called the anti-homogenization of design. So that manifesto, anti-homogenization of design,
So simple.
it's anti-Pinterest. So the only time that people design and then they get cringe, they get personal, professional cringe, is when they've Pinterested and it's taken them so long. Like, for example, 6 months ago, I'm going to do Art Deco. Pale pink, I'm going, I love it. Pale pink deco, curves, lots of arches, curves. And they Pinterested, they pulled it all together. 6 months later, that project comes out. Home Beautiful have already done an Art Deco story. Like everyone else has done it. Pinterest is like the Block are doing Art Deco. Everyone's doing Art Deco. So this retail shop is Art Deco. It's like, that's when I would shoot myself.
Yes.
Because that is cringe. Because that is when you go, why did I do that? So you just don't look at anything that's happening. Don't follow trends. Try to do something where a supplier goes, well, we've never done that before. We're like, ding, ring the bell. Yeah, let's do it. Like, so I think that's the thing.
So how does social media then, it's a nice segue, and media have shaped or influenced your design?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a really amazing question. 4 months ago, I stopped social media. So you know, we're very healthy social media. We're up to, I think, 33,000. We had a lot of followers, really, really loyal devotees that really loved. I was over talking about things that I love and inspiration, like a church in Madrid, or a floor in Portugal that's this, and we're using the colours from that floor to be inspiration for something. And then I just started thinking that the whole wave of social media was changing. I think I was in Tuscany last year, and I took a photo of me in this amazing villa, and then I got this extraordinary amount of likes, and then I was like, hang on, no, I don't want to be, I'm not that person, I'm not the influencer. It's about my work.
Yeah.
And I just thought, there's a shift here. So the shift kind of is suggesting that if you're in your environment, it's much more appealing than if you're talking about something that you're passionate about. So I thought, this stinks. And so I thought, isn't there an Instagram, a design Instagram that's really just about that? So I thought, what I'll do? I'm going to follow people that are people that mine for marble, people that make things out of shell, people that are like an old factory like Falmec factory out of Germany that have the original Fonet chair contract, and they're still making 100 chairs a week. It's the same family factory. Follow them and just let the other people go off by the wayside. And it's much more gratifying looking at that feed and seeing 7 people hammering together something than 7 people like, yahoo, carry on, dude. Forget it, I'm over you guys.
So is PR now completely digital because we do have that 5-second attention span? Are people reading your narrative?
PR, in the last few years, what's happened is people have taken it back in-house to be able to do their own social media and PR. Because now is really going to take over any of this social media. Really targeted, clever, audience-driven, like really targeted PR that understands the brand, speaks of the brand. Sometimes, and I think what's happened recently because people are trying to save funds, they do it themselves, but when someone owns a brand and you speak of the brand, if you're really proud of your brand, it sounds a bit egotistical.
Cheesy.
Yeah, it sounds a bit
cheesy.
Yeah, it sounds like, this brand is the best. And everyone like, but you wrote that. You wrote it. Like, how can you say that? It's almost like you need this third person. So even if they get a third person, they usually get a third person that doesn't really know the brand that well. The strength of brilliant PR like you. The brilliant, like, and you've been amazing for me. In fact, the homogenization concept that you allowed me to write for Huffington Post about that, and that was one of their most successful stories of 2018. You do projects with me, but then you also you have got a huge range of children's access, so you can be able to go, you've got to go and you have to understand and negotiate the different avenues to present the PR, and I think the skill is not in the PR, the skill is in the understanding of the language of each potential recipient of the story.
To be picked out of the PR crowd to work with you, that in itself is such a freaking big dream that you fulfill. So thank you.
I love you, baby.